Check 1 2 1 2. What's up, everybody? DJ Divine Justice here. Today I'm going to be talking about machine and duplicating scenes. We're working with the studio, but you can use this with the MK2 or the micros as well. Right now I just have a simple beat and sample. Sample is on A, drums are on B, and then on C, simple drums. Hi-hat, snare, and kick. So in scene 1 that we're in, start that from the beginning, then I'm going to mute group A that has the sample, get out of mute, just have the drums. Now, cool thing is being able to duplicate scenes so you can change them and have different versions of the same combinations of sounds and patterns. So I'm going to be in scene mode, press duplicate, select 1, then select 2, so it's duplicating from there to there, then get out of duplicate mode. Now, by doing that, start it from the beginning. Sounds the same because it's just a duplicate. Go to scene. We're in scene 2 because we duplicated from 1 to 2. Now that we're in there, take my hi-hats, let's go events, hi-hats. I want to clear out those hi-hats. Now I can start that one from the beginning. There's no hi-hats. I can bring the sample back in. Cool, gives me like a little different version. Go back to scene 1, start that from the beginning. It did the exact same thing. That's because it didn't change the pattern when it duplicated it. So you can see we're in scene 1. Go to the hi-hats, which are already in. If I go to pattern, you can see it's pattern 1. Pattern 1, still in that first pattern. If I go to scene 2, go back to pattern, still it's pattern 1. We don't want that. Let's go back to scene, undo is our friend, keep undoing, now we're back to the original. That's good. So the way that you fix this is that you either are in scene and go to duplicate, or you can go duplicate and hold down scene, although it'll only stay there for as long as you hold down scene, so I prefer to go scene and then duplicate, is this plus pattern option. You want to make sure that's selected. So now we can, while we're in scene and duplicate, or duplicate and then scene, select pad 1, then select pad 2. Now what has happened is that now that we're in scene 2, if you go to the pattern, you can see that it's no longer pattern 1, it's pattern 6, because it's created a new pattern. If I go back to scene 1, let's undo that. If I am out of duplicate and go back to scene 1, sorry, redo that. Scene 1, pattern is pattern 1. Scene 2, the pattern is pattern 6. So that means that now I can go while in scene, while out of scene, go back to my drums. Now I can do the same thing, go to events, take the hi-hats out, play scene 2 from the beginning, bring the sample back in. If I go back to scene 1, my hi-hats are still there because it's playing pattern 1. It's not scene 2 where the drums are playing pattern 6 because it created a new pattern. So that's a good way of speeding around and speeding up your workflow. So for instance, I can go back to the beginning and say I want to unmute that sample. So I can treat this pattern as something completely different and say I want to take it down to a quarter beat. Let's double that twice. Then I'm going to erase the last 4. So I just took out that last 4 and I'm going to fill it with the bottom 4. And I can go back to scene 1. So that's just a cool way of being able to create variances when you're switching between your scenes and duplicating. And once again, that's in scene duplicate or duplicate scene. Make sure that that plus pattern is selected. As always, practice and enjoy. DJ Divine Justice signing off. Peace.